Welcome. Hi everybody, thank you for being here and welcome to another channel message. If you're new to the channel, benvenuti, double welcome for you. In this channel you'll find several videos that support your expansion of consciousness, approaching from the physical health, mental, emotional side, and also the spiritual side of health. We do have these bodies, spiritual body, physical, mental, emotional, so it is fair to consider all of them all together and sometimes distinctively. This message is going to be part of a playlist of channel messages that are coming from higher beings in the best and highest interest of humanity, and I'll add the link to the rest of the playlist into the description below. Any question or comment, feel free to ask or share what did resonate with you the most. These messages are really very powerful. It is beneficial to listen to them multiple times because the words that they use are quite simple, although every time they intend to stretch the awareness that little bit extra step. And so as your journey in your spiritual awakening or soul evolution or just life regression is continuing, you may find yourself ready to digest a little bit more and then a little bit more and so on. So let's see the message. This message was passed from the Pleiadians. Dear ones, we are the Pleiadians, Council of Light, here with further words on guidance to help you navigate these and upcoming times. It has already been said and announced that the world as you know it is about to change completely, highlighted. Again, most things won't be certain, yet the disruptiveness of some events may challenge your calm. Be somehow prepared. Create that preparation within you. Like if you would or might join a long marathon, an average and casual run around the block will not be sufficient to prepare you. So be and stay proactive. First and foremost, practice the calm in your heart, in your soul. Find that grounded place of stillness that no matter what comes, no matter what happens, you are able to self-regulate your system, to calm your breath, your mind, and your body. To practice compassion, forgiveness, awareness, and yes, always practice discernment. But truly build, nurture, and respect that sacred place within yourself, where you can find clarity despite the storm, when and if they occur. Gaia will continue to experience a transformation. The analogy of sometimes they add reference of things that I have just seen or conversation that I have witnessed or participating into. The analogy of the woman giving birth that Deborah Silverman does is relevant. Deborah Silverman, famous psychologist and astrologer, she's fantastic, was sharing several times the analogy of a woman giving birth. And what she describes is, if one would not know what is going on and would see this woman crying, screaming, in pain, with the body changing or vomiting, with nausea, may think that something very wrong is happening. And instead, that is part of, despite unpleasant, but that is part of a bigger picture. It's part of the bigger, beautiful process of giving birth. So the Pleiadians in this message are referring to earth shifting to 5D, or this new earth transformation without too many labels. And they are saying, prepare, because things may be unpleasant, but they may be well interpreted through the keys of the analogy that Deborah does. So see them as being part of a bigger process that is going to lead to a better outcome in the end. Gaia will continue to experience a transformation, ungrounding, provoking, heart-breaking situations of all sorts may present throughout these next few years. Learn to improve how you navigate what happens in the best way, staying connected to your inner North Pole, to your heart, to your soul senses, the connection with Source, with all that is. We always remind, this is different than worshipping religion. This refers to the power of unity, capital letter. It refers to the power of unity, of love, of interconnectedness. Stay strong and be strong. If any activity, reading, project can foster your courage or centeredness or a unity with your community, then consider embracing it for the upcoming time. Everyone is different, so do and expand what resonates, and it is appropriate just for you, your life experiences, what is relevant for your circumstances, for your aspirations. All things may profoundly change. And we continue and will continue to remind you the importance of staying in light, in your integrity and reciprocal integrity, of remembering who you are. If you wish, this is what your soul came here to do, what you agreed upon prior incarnating. And yes, remembering contracts can always be redirected in some cases or changed all over, as she did without even knowing. You can communicate with your soul, with source, with a higher guidance that resonates with you, and ask to be shown, ask to be guided, told, to know what are you here to do. So ask also to be told and ask to know, to be shown what you are here to do. Prepare, dear ones, slowly, yet with awareness and with courage. We speak with love to all of you, yet particularly to those with a more open connection to consciousness, here for the greater good. Never give up, never give in. Here they added a sweet sense of humor. Sometimes when this message comes through, the entity, the beings or the collectiveness that is passing this message through, and a psychic was referring to this actually the other day, everything is a co-creation. So as the person receiving the message gets to experience a percentage of the higher frequency and the sense that sometimes may come with more authority, sometimes may come with more warmth and love. This is, for example, the case of the Pleiadian. Also them start slowly to borrow or a part of either the vocabulary or the traits of the personality of the person. Never give up, never give in is something that I normally remind to people, whether my students or clients or people in the community or just family members, or just to myself, most of the time, not to give up. And so it's beautiful that throughout the channeling, also what is passed is the emotion, is the compassion, even that veiled sense of humor can come too, as in, this is a message, and this is not to laugh about it. It contains so much resilience and so much strength and so much calling to stay courageous and staying in light and stay in your integrity, but with that sweet sense that you can always apply a little smile, that sense of humor. They finished the message saying, if you understood the real structure of reality, you know all is going to be good in the end. And there is never an end. There is never an end. All is here, all is now. One is all, yes, and all is one. We love you all, the Pleiadians. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What I share in other videos, sometimes you hear me read message that I receive at this stage through writing. Sometimes the frequency that I receive that happens telepathically, there might be vision, there might be sensation and feeling. It's more of an advanced skill, but sometimes it passes through voice, through the chakra, and so the frequency is received and passes through a message, and as the person enhances the skill, that goes into trans-channeling or semi-trans-channeling and so on. So where the person gives permission to the being in light and love that has to be discerned at the beginning to pass the message through. And so there is that extra level, and that also speeds up the communication. But in the process, there is so much going on. So I'm able, if I wanted to, I need to put my thoughts, my rational mind aside. But this said, when a message comes through, I'm able to telepathically ask questions back. So for example, if I ask for a validation or a question, this is where they may expand, and this is where you may hear there is a yes. When they say, there is never an end, all is here and all is now, and I ask within, and all is one is all, then it's confirmation, yes, one is all and all is one, and so many other examples. This was such a beautiful message, and these are strong words. These are very strong words. If by this time you understand more of the concept that were in this message, you may make sense that somehow you want to prepare, and even in the level of you digesting, you're slipping underneath the veil and expanding your consciousness, and at the same time dealing with the 3D physicality of the body, the responsibility, being in a society of work, finances, daily life activity, anything, and dealing with other people that may not be on the same level of awareness. And we are all beautiful parts of the same society and of the same big design, and different people with different contracts. As always, they remind, the contracts can be changed. So sometimes when we incarnate, we may have either lessons or missions that are more or less of in light. sometimes you can even decide if honoring a contract, which is, for example, giving birth to a soul, or honoring a romantic relationship, a person may decide not to. And that causes a change of trajectory for the two people, because of course it takes two. And so many other examples. What they refer to in my end, without even knowing, is like when I started receiving the messages, I started receiving sort of visitation and messages from someone else. This tied us to discernment. So I'm sharing with you with no intention of you believing. If this doesn't resonate with you, it's okay. Just take the pinpoint that contracts can be changed. If you're ever not comfortable with something, when you change the contract, that may be, I think you can also retake it back. But to some degree, don't play around with that too much. So just be aware they can be changed. If you want clarity, it is your right to demand clarity. And I'll give you my example in a second. And if you then decide you're not comfortable or want to do something else, that is always possible. You can proactively ask for what you would like to do, or the universe, God, source, your guides may just have something in plan for you that it's even better. And this is just the mystical, magical part of the journey, really. This sets up to discernment, what I'm about to share with you. This is very niche. I have a sense it might get bigger, it may resonate, it may not. That's the point. In studying to channeling and expanding, I started to receive visitation. Now, how do I know it? For example, the Pleiadians. I'm not like others that have been awakened since a child. I know I had several lives as a shaman, a priestess, having to do with magic, with empress, with leadership, even lives that were not human, but I don't recall them. I may have glimpses, and sometimes I have experiences in the body and astral that the signs are undeniable, plus a lot of synchronicity. And by now, after 7 years on this path, I know it's too much to make things up. And at the same time, I have the humility to say, there's no ego here. That has been left aside long time ago, and many times, because even the death of the ego is one layer at a time. And I am okay with what comes. I'm okay with what comes with no expectation, with that same sense of resilience, of courage, yet with that compassion and warmth from the heart, and also wanting to add that layer of humor. My guides always say to you, humor will save you. Like you go through things that are so tough that are barely perceivable, but the humor will save you. The ability to just at the end, where you're almost about to be destroyed, like being able to laugh about it or flip it in a way that you can see that ray of light that comes through. So that's very much me. How do you discern? At this point where my third eye is not as active, it is quite difficult to discern. There are psychics that do see beings, so when the messages come in, they would see the Pleiadians, or they would see Metatron, or the angels. It is not my experience per now. So with the frequency, when the frequency comes, and telepathy is no surprise, if you look up telepathy tapes and so much that is coming through these days, or telepathy with a family member or a friend or a lover, when telepathy comes, it's like a frequency, a code. Everything is frequency and vibration. Yeah. When the frequency comes, there may also be a qualitative aspects, as in you may have a sense, like if you wanted to associate a color or an emotion or a sensation, is that pleasant, is that not? Is that is that if I channel Metatron or Ashtar, there's less humor, more structure, more authority. The Pleiadians is more soft, my guides, different flavor. So it's that ability with repetition and being a clear vessel with no judgment is the ability to learn to discern what comes. If you're starting or a mid-level throughout your progression with channeling or receiving download and messages, some people receive messages when they do Reiki or other meditative practices. So learn to discern where is the source of the message coming from. Sometimes maybe directly from source. That happens as well. Different flavor again. I was receiving messages, and even with things such, you have to come with us, or they're gonna come tomorrow night at this time, just allow what happens. I was having similar messages. Some of the content, like when the Pleiadians come, they pass wisdom and messages that is not me making up the message. I receive it, I allow it. As before receiving it and throughout, I'm like a guardian with discernment. If it resonates with the energy of my heart, if it sounds true, if it feels true, if everything ticks boxes that is in light, then I make a decision, I take the responsibility to pass that on, I go ahead and share it, and then it's the public responsibility to take on board what resonates with you and leave aside the rest, as always. What was coming through, in a logical way, was making sense. In a logical way, could have been passing through as any other time that I channel my spirit guides or Pleiadians or other beings in pure light, or angels at time. although there was something off, there was something that was so subtle, yet it was off. And throughout months, I also asked for guidance. Like, I started to ask questions in channeling as well. Is this in light? Is this for in the best interest of myself and humanity? And I was getting a no. And so I started to like close the door to that conversation, disengage, and I asked the universe and my guide to give me more guidance. When I was not expecting it, a documentary came through, and the images were AI generated, but the story, the narrative was quite interesting. And I found other people in podcasts that had done extensive researches on it that somehow resonated. And towards the end of this documentary was also talking about, I'm not going to say the name, but this particular collective, this particular being, not really being in the best interest of humanity. And so there are people, this is also when they speak about integrity and light. I'm sort of tingled because I know this is something big and many, I'll cushion it, and then I'll leave it to you whether you're able to. I know it's very cryptic, but it may make sense at some point. It was not particular, so it was convincing. Rationally, what they would say contains wisdom, yes, although do they come in the best interest of humanity? Not really. So this was so subtle. I didn't get any message. I didn't get any sense from my intuition or my guide say, hey, Fed, check, what do you think? I was left alone, and this is also the part of the collective agreement of the free will. And there is no really judgment of what is good and what is bad. Everything is an experience, and in everything being an experience, when the body terminates the experience and the spirit continues to live on, the review is on the experience. There is not necessarily the punishment of this was bad and this was evil and this was good and loving. And so it was really something so subtle within the heart and within my senses saying, this is not convincing, something is off. And I went to investigate. I asked for signs, the signs arrived. I continue to investigate. I asked validation to someone that is more experienced than me. And I've checked, and this person accessed my records, and we found out what is happening. Like, I do all protections, I cleanse, as in nothing else can come through. How are they able to slip through the messages? I'm receiving the message, halfway is genuine, and then something starts to change. And again, it's like the process is the same, the voice is the same. It's like if the frequency could have a color, and if the frequency could have an emotion, there was that 0.1% that was different. And then going on, make question, investigate. If you ask it 3 times, the truth has to come through. And so I would sort of unveil that something was off and was not in light. And therefore, interestingly, tied to integrity, when they were trying to make contact, there was sort of that preview of what, if I would have followed through, what my life could have looked like. With fame, as in another person that is very famous, known worldwide, that is following and passing messages for this group. And so they showed me what they showed me in sensation and in vision was something similar. But coming back to that integrity, that it came from within. It came from a choice of Federica the person and Federica the heart and the soul of, I'm not interested. If it's not in light and love, I am not interested. So it is that path of integrity, is that part of unwavering light that stays, that what is in the best and highest good to come forward to me and through me, and I'm not interested in anything else, regardless of fame, money, whatever. I'm not interested. And we went ahead and checked again, and I decided to collapse that lifetime. What happened? 2 things happened that would blow my mind. There's always something to learn in this path. In the moment, and this was a decision that I made in my room during the channeling, and I in that investigation I've checked, is this, why are they connecting me? Is this in the best interest of the highest good? No. Are they in light and love? There was a no. And it was like, it's like my guide could not say a word. It's like, this is for you to, it's like, this is on your cards, but ultimately you have to decide. This gives me chill. When I decided, I don't want to participate in this, I'm going to stay only to what is in light, and I've sort of scrapped mentally that contract, within myself, it's like the spirit light him. I felt like cheering, celebrating, like my human, was surprised, what is this? But it was sort of fun, and it was also that uplifting of frequency. During the session with this person, when officially, she sort of went through the Akashic records and, okay, yes, collapse this parallel time that is going on in leadership position in this collective, that happened again. And then when that happened, even messages from Ashtar started to come through. So this is to say, sometimes, this is rare because how do you know? If you're a psychic and you have access to the records, you may know what's in your contract, is in your right to know. But most times you don't know. And so this was an example of changing a contract without even knowing. But coming back to the message, closing the loop of this long video, if you know in your heart, you want to make the decision to stay in light and you're here for the greater good, whether that is the greater good of your family or your society, or you're sharing your message and your services worldwide, whether you're a teacher, you're healing, creating, anything, just being you and sharing your frequencies and your light with the people, then prepare, because times are going to be tough. And I see among society, I see the struggles that I go through and other people that I go through, and the tendency is to cave in. And so let's not cave in, and let's just acknowledge one another and connect, because what matters at the end is really to raise the collective frequencies, is to stay in light. And if you want to continue to stay in light, just in the knowingness of your family circles, that's okay. You have freedom, whatever you do. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's your journey, it's your experience. But if you remember and if you care for collective peace, for the earth, for balance and harmony in the greater extension of its meaning, then you can resonate with the words of the message. I'll make a shorter video just with the message, and I'll leave this extended version just in case it resonates with someone with no expectation. I thank you so much, love, if you've been so far, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.